units, disturbance at 247 Pine. Possible suspect on scene. Unit 12 reports suspicious vehicle near garage. Proceed with caution, possible occupants.
The driveway looked unreal under pulsing red and blue reflections. A tow truck waited at the curb like it already knew the ending, and multiple patrol SUVs sat angled along the street, turning a quiet cul-de-sac into a spectacle. Marcus Reyes stepped out from his front door with steady posture, the kind that didn't match the emergency energy surrounding him. Across the road, Patricia Harlan held her phone high, recording with triumphant focus. Then one responding officer's body language shifted, recognition spreading through the scene like a sudden change in weather.
Marcus had moved into Briar Ridge for peace. After years of constant calls and city-level responsibility, the new police chief wanted ordinary evenings, garage projects, calm streets, and a place where his daughter could feel safe. Briar Ridge looked perfect on the surface. Bright lawns, clean sidewalks, neat houses spaced like they'd been measured. The HOA kept it that way with polished newsletters and strict rules, and most residents complied because resisting felt like volunteering for stress. Marcus noticed the warning signs early. Cameras angled toward the street, neighbors who went quiet mid-conversation, and a community message board that amplified suspicion faster than facts. Patricia stood out most. As an HOA board member, she moved through the neighborhood with the confidence of someone used to deciding what was acceptable, and she seemed to appear whenever a minor issue could be turned into a major lesson. The first strike landed on an ordinary afternoon. Marcus briefly parked a rented utility trailer at the edge of his driveway while unloading lumber for a weekend repair. It wasn't blocking the sidewalk or spilling into the street, and it was gone quickly. Yet by evening, an HOA violation notice appeared with the precision of a trap. It accused him of obstructing the driveway and storing unauthorized equipment, then stacked on a fine designed to escalate if he hesitated. Marcus documented everything, reviewed the rules, and filed a calm appeal through the proper channels. The denial arrived fast and cold, packed with threats of collections and liens that didn't match the small reality of what had happened. Then the pressure turned personal. Printed photos of his driveway appeared on different mornings, taped to his mailbox like a warning that someone was watching and wanted him to feel it. After Marcus refused to bend, the harassment became systematic. New notices came with weaponized timing, grass measured down to fractions, trash bin placement treated like a moral failure, and complaints about his personal SUV as if washing it signaled criminal intent. Patricia's influence wasn't limited to paperwork. She reshaped the social air around him, and the neighborhood began reacting to him like he was a problem they didn't want to touch. Vague posts about safety popped up whenever Marcus returned late from official meetings, and minor reports were pushed to outside agencies to create the impression of ongoing issues. The most unsettling part was the pattern. No matter what Marcus did, it was framed as a violation waiting to be punished. One afternoon, he returned home to find orange cones lined along the edge of his driveway, as if someone had claimed territory. That night, a tow company card appeared under his windshield wiper. The breaking point arrived with perfect timing. Marcus had scheduled roof repairs, and a contractor delivered a large portable storage pod for materials, placed partly in the driveway for short-term loading. Marcus kept the sidewalk clear, added reflective markers, and followed every reasonable guideline because he already knew someone was hunting for an excuse. Patricia didn't hunt for an excuse. She built one. Within minutes, she was at the curb filming, pacing, and gesturing as if the pod were a public hazard and Marcus were refusing some invisible authority. Marcus stayed focused on the work, determined not to feed the performance. Then the stakes changed instantly. A 911 call went out, an emergency channel used for a neighborhood power move. The report was framed to sound urgent and volatile, the kind that sends units quickly. As the first cruiser turned into Briar Ridge with lights activated, Patricia's posture sharpened with certainty, like she believed she had finally forced the neighborhood to choose her side.
The streets snapped into high-alert motion as officers arrived and assessed the driveway, the pod, and the vehicles. The tow truck rolled in behind them, too ready for a situation that should have been routine. Marcus stepped outside with controlled calm, hands visible, expression steady, moving like someone who understood how quickly confusion could escalate when adrenaline took over. Recognition hit one officer, then another, and the tone shifted from confrontation to recalibration. Patricia kept filming, but her confidence started to fracture when procedure tightened instead of bending. Marcus requested the basis for the tow request and the details of what had been reported. A supervisor was brought in, and the scene became less about a homeowner being pressured and more about a call being scrutinized. When the 911 recording was reviewed later, it confirmed the truth. The complaint had been inflated to manufacture urgency. It wasn't an accident, it was a tactic. And tactics change meaning when the person targeted happens to lead the department that answered the call.
After that night, the consequences didn't stay contained inside Briar Ridge. The incident report was thorough, and the recording and documentation preserved a clear timeline. The attempt to pull emergency services into a personal dispute, the expectation of a tow, and the performative evidence meant for social leverage. Once a review began, the pattern of repeated complaints and intimidation tactics became harder to dismiss as coincidence. Patricia's misuse of 911 triggered formal repercussions, and the HOA board moved quickly to separate itself from the fallout. Meetings that once felt like petty courtrooms turned cautious and quiet, and new rules were pushed through requiring clearer evidence standards and tighter oversight for fines. The neighborhood's mood changed, too. Less whispering, more willingness to speak up, more clarity about what bullying looks like when it wears official-looking paperwork. Marcus didn't celebrate. He simply reclaimed the normal life he moved there for. But Briar Ridge was left with one uncomfortable question that still deserves answers, and it belongs in the comments. If someone will dial 911 just to win a driveway argument, what else will they do to feel powerful?